You lie beneath a dark and endless sky, your breath quiet, your body still. Above you, stars shimmer like thoughts, soft, distant, ancient. But one star flickers not with light, but with absence. A patch of night that doesn't twinkle. It swallows. It waits. There is a pull here, not sudden, not sharp, but steady, like the way the sea draws footprints back into the tide. You're not being yanked, you're being invited. Space does not scream, it whispers, and in that whisper is a name, black hole. You've heard the term before, maybe in school, or read it in books with glowing galaxies on their covers, but here, in this dream space between wake and sleep, it feels different, real, gentle, like the hush of a forest you've just entered alone, where every shadow has weight but no menace. The black hole doesn't chase light. It lets light come to it, inch by inch, curve by curve. Even photons, those little flashes that dance across your face in sunlight, can't escape once they step too close. Light bends not by force, but by invitation, and once it bows, it disappears. You drift toward it slowly, wrapped in curiosity more than fear. Around you, stars remain quiet like respectful onlookers. They've watched this happen before. Stars are born, they live, they shine, and sometimes they collapse. When they do, when they die not in a gentle fade but in a supernova roar, what remains is a black hole, a ghost with gravity. Imagine, for a moment, the Earth crushed into the size of a marble. Now imagine that marble pulling not just you, but entire planets, beams of light, and even time itself toward its core. That's what a black hole is. Not a thing, but a place where matter folds in on itself until space says, I can't hold this anymore. But you're not here to fall. You are here to feel. You float near the edge, where nothing seems to move but everything is drawn. This is the outer shell, where light still tries to escape, curves, hesitates. You're watching from a distance, but even here you sense the change. Space stretches, time softens. It's as if the universe sighs inwards at this point. You don't fall in, you slide, slowly, gently, not with panic, but with permission. And the silence, it's not empty, it's full of questions, full of gravity, full of potential. You realize that what you're near isn't just the end of something, it might be the beginning of something else. But beginnings and endings blur here. The lines you once knew, time, space, inside, outside, they start to smudge like watercolors left in the rain. And still, the pull continues. Not in your muscles, but in your thoughts. Why are we drawn to darkness? Why does the unknown call to us more than the known? Black holes are not monsters, they're mysteries. And tonight, you are not escaping them. You're becoming part of them. You imagine the center, the singularity, but it remains hidden. It has to be. To see it would require breaking the very laws that protect your vision, your reason. Still, your mind circles it like a moth around invisible fire. But you're not ready to go that deep. Not yet. First, you must understand the boundary, the line where return is no longer an option. It's near, just ahead. And it's not made of walls or fire or teeth. It's made of gravity and silence and inevitability. They call it the event horizon, and like the moment between inhale and exhale, it marks the point where what was becomes what is. So you keep drifting gently. The stars behind you grow quieter. Time begins to slow, not in reality, but in your thoughts. You're entering a place where even clocks lose confidence, where seconds lengthen like shadows at dusk. You're not falling, you're floating through a riddle. Every part of your body feels lighter, yet more pulled. You're suspended in a story that's older than planets, written not in ink but in mass, and gravity, and wonder. Black holes do not shout, they wait, and you, curious traveller, have finally come close enough to listen. And what you hear is not emptiness, it's invitation. To cross the edge, to feel time bend, to glimpse the strange horizon where even light turns back. A place not feared, but respected. a place where falling is just another kind of flight. You hover there now, breath held, and soon, so very soon, you'll step closer. Because just beyond this edge lies the point of no return. There is a hush now, not silence, but something deeper, like the moment before snowfall touches the ground, or the instant before a candle dims. You float in this pause, your awareness soft and steady, cradled in the velvet of space. Ahead lies a boundary, though there are no fences, no signs. Nothing marks this edge but gravity itself. You do not see it, but you feel it, a deep quiet curve in the fabric of space, an invisible line drawn by mass and memory. This is the event horizon. It is not a wall, it does not burn or crash or warn, it simply is. A place in space where the rules you once trusted begin to shift. Here, at the threshold, even light cannot outrun what waits inside. Once something crosses this line, it does not come back. Not because it's crushed, but because the way home no longer exists. Imagine standing at the edge of a waterfall, not above it, but inside it, suspended perfectly still, while time slips away around you. You lean forward, just a little. Space beneath you curves more than your eyes can follow. The stars above stretch into arcs, pulled by the same hand that reaches for you. But still, you are not afraid. Because even here, at the brink, there is peace. The black hole does not grab, it offers. The fall is slow, tender even. You're still on the outside, still free to float, to turn back. But the closer you get, the more you feel time grow long, like honey, dripping through your fingers. To someone watching from far away, you'd never cross this line. You'd slow and slow until you froze in place, a ghost on the edge of time. But from your view, from within, the fall feels natural, effortless. You don't notice the moment it happens. There's no sudden change, no flash or flare. Just surrender. You cross. And still, you feel no panic, only weightlessness, a gentle tilt. Your thoughts stretch like shadows in the evening, slow and long. The stars begin to slip behind you, not quickly, just quietly, as if the universe is turning away, or maybe you are. Behind the veil, the laws begin to dissolve. Direction becomes slippery. Up, down, left. They blur. Your body is still, but your mind begins to drift in directions it has no names for. You feel pulled, not through space, but through understanding. Inside this boundary, everything falls. Light, matter, even time itself. But falling here doesn't feel like dropping. It feels like being absorbed into a secret the universe keeps with careful silence. Scientists say this horizon is where escape velocity, the speed needed to break free, becomes greater than the speed of light. Nothing known to us can run faster than that. So from this moment on, there is only inward. But you're not falling like an object. You're falling like an idea, deeper into mystery, deeper into time. There is no going back, and yet you do not mourn what's behind, because every inch forward feels like unfolding, like a petal reaching towards something unseen. You wonder, what would it be like to send a message from here, to whisper a thought back across the edge? Would it reach anyone? Or would your voice stretch forever, thinner and thinner, until it vanished like starlight swallowed whole? The truth is, no one knows. The horizon hides what's beyond it. We can only study the edge, and even that only from afar. What lies within is wrapped in shadows too dense for any telescope to pierce. But your mind goes anyway. That's what minds do. It paints pictures from equations, dreams from math. Some say space itself is stretched so tightly here that time folds in ways we don't yet understand. That perhaps, once inside, paths open. Strange paths, winding tunnels, gateways, wormholes. But that thought is not for now. It's just a glimmer, a ripple in the distance. For now, you stay near the horizon, not yet spiraling inward. You float at the edge like a leaf caught in still water. You feel the currents of thought swirl beneath you. The event horizon doesn't scream, it hums, a low, eternal chord in the symphony of space. You remember that some black holes spin, and when they spin, they do not just swallow, They twist. They pull space into a whirl, a slow spiral like cream in coffee, and that spiral might offer more than darkness. It might offer direction. But even in spinning black holes, even in those wild maelstroms of bent light and tilted time, the event horizon holds. It remains the same quiet boundary, the last place where anything is still connected to the outside. You realize now that you're on the shore of something vast, not an ocean, something stranger, where the waves are made of time and the wind carries gravity, where distance means little and direction even less. Still, you float. The horizon holds you, not like a cage, like a breath held before a word, a pause before meaning. And then, softly, your thoughts begin to lean forward, to wonder, if this is the edge, what lies in the middle? If gravity can silence even light, what does it say in there, at the heart of the black hole? You close your eyes, and in the hush, a deeper pull begins, one that does not end at the horizon, but draws you in, toward the place where time no longer moves the way you know it. Toward the singularity. Time is a river, they say, always flowing, always forward. But here, near the heart of the black hole, time begins to hesitate. It slows, curls inward, loses its straightness. No longer a river, but a tide pool, and you are floating in it, weightless, watching the world shift. You've crossed the event horizon, that invisible edge where escape becomes impossible, and yet the universe doesn't feel hostile. There's no scream, no tearing, only stillness, the kind that feels sacred. Outside the stars still spin, but to you they look different now, faster somehow. Their light seems to whirl, racing through seasons and centuries. As you drift inward, you see whole lives flicker by like the turning pages of a book, and yet your own hands, your own heartbeat, move slow as moonlight. This is gravitational time dilation, a phrase whispered in classrooms and science books, now felt in your bones. The stronger the gravity, the slower time flows for you compared to others. And inside this well of gravity, time itself drips. You blink, and 1,000 years pass beyond you. You breathe, and stars are born, live, and die in that span. To someone watching from far away, your descent would seem frozen. A ghost paused on the edge of eternity, but to you each moment is whole, rich with sensation and awareness. You're not frozen, you're falling, just slowly, infinitely slowly. It's not frightening, it's beautiful. The way a snowflake slows when you really watch it. The way a lullaby holds each note just long enough for you to feel its echo. There is no rush here, no urgency. You're not late, and you're not early. You're exactly where time has chosen to cradle you. You begin to let go of what time used to mean. No more clocks, no more calendars, no more names for morning or night. Your body still ticks, still keeps rhythm, but the outside world, earth, cities, sunrises, fades into fast-forward blurs. You remember that Einstein once said time and space are stitched together, a fabric, and black holes tug on that fabric deep and strong. So deep, in fact, that time near the core becomes something else entirely, something soft, elastic, dreamlike. You wonder, if you had a companion watching from far away, someone on a quiet hill on Earth, how would they see you now? They'd see you pause, hover, never quite falling in, a trick of light and time, but you'd already be far beyond their sight, slipping deeper, slower into the spiral. You can't speak to them, no signal can reach them, but maybe, in a way, you can still send something. A thought, a feeling, a memory. You send it like a bubble, not to reach them, just to know you tried. Because time here is not just slower, it's personal. Memories begin to feel recent, even the distant ones. Your 5th birthday, your first snowfall, the way a loved one once said your name, all of it feels close, as if time inside you refuses to fade, even when time outside races ahead. You're learning that gravity doesn't just hold your body, it holds your story. It bends not just space, but memory. It cradles your past, your now, and your future in one long, spiraling breath. There's something comforting in that, like being held in a parent's arms, not knowing how long you've been there or how long you'll stay, only that you're safe for now. And still, you fall. Each second stretches, each thought expands. You're moving toward the core, the singularity, where time might stop altogether, not because it runs out, but because it no longer knows how to move forward. You wonder, if time stops, does that mean everything inside happens all at once, or nothing at all? And what does it mean to exist outside of time, to fall forever without an after? You don't have answers, only wonder. And here, that's enough. In this slow fall, you think of the universe not as a clock, but a cradle, not as a machine, but a mystery. Everything you knew is behind you now, not erased, but rewritten in a softer language, a language that speaks in curves and echoes, in pauses and pulls. You're not afraid, you're curious, you're calm. Time was once your guide, your compass. Now it is a river you float upon, no longer steering, just sensing. And as the current grows thicker, the pull grows deeper, your thoughts begin to narrow. You feel something ahead, not in distance, in depth. A place where even this slow, stretched time must come to a still point, where the fall becomes something else entirely. You close your eyes, not to sleep, but to prepare. Because soon you will reach the center, and there, time stops pretending. You're still falling, but now the fall feels different. Not longer, not slower, just deeper. As if you are no longer moving through space, but through meaning, through the raw essence of gravity itself. The light has gone, the stars are gone, even the curved swirl of the horizon is a memory behind you now. What remains is a vast velvety absence, not empty, but full of silence, full of something you cannot name. You are approaching the singularity. It's not a place you can point to. It has no surface, no shape. It is not a thing in the way your hands have ever touched. It is a point, infinitely small, infinitely dense, a place where mass becomes more than mass, where it bends everything it touches, including the laws that once explained the world to you. You try to imagine it, but your mind resists. It slips away, like trying to hold water in your hands. Equations break here, concepts twist, even language folds in on itself. You feel that somewhere near you, gravity has grown so strong that even the fabric of space-time is buckling under its weight. Here, there is no direction, no up, no down. You're surrounded by motion, and yet perfectly still. The closer you come, the more everything condenses. Not just your location, but your thoughts, your senses, your very idea of being. You're being folded. Some scientists say this point is a paradox, a riddle too dense to unravel. Others say it's a boundary where all the information of everything that's ever fallen in is compressed, woven into some cosmic ledger. But here, inside the singularity, such theories feel distant. They belong to other places, places with chalkboards and lectures and starlit skies. Here, there is only experience. And the experience is one of surrender. Not fear, not pain, just the humbling recognition that this is a frontier, the deepest one you've ever reached. You begin to feel your sense of time, of before and after, melt completely. You're not remembering, you're being, all at once, like your life, your thoughts, your questions are coexisting in a single breath. If you were to describe it, you might call it a now stretched across eternity. And still, the pull continues, not toward something, but into something. You feel yourself dissolve, not in body, but in boundary. You are not erased. You are becoming part of something wider. Somewhere, deep within this point is everything that fell before you. Light from dying stars, dust from ancient galaxies, moments and matter and meaning, all gathered into a single note held too long for any voice to sing. It is here, in the quiet heart of gravity, that you sense something unexpected. Stillness. Not nothingness, not chaos, just a stillness so complete it feels sacred, Like the pause before the first sound, or the moment between two thoughts, you have reached the innermost chamber of the unknown, the eye of darkness itself. You wonder, is this the end? Or is it the threshold of something else? Because some theories suggest that the singularity is not a dead end, but a gateway, a bridge, that what falls here might rise elsewhere, that space folds not just inward, but through itself. Could this be a tunnel, you ask? A wormhole? But no answers come, only the sensation that you are on the brink of understanding something that cannot be understood, only felt. You're no longer falling, you're resting, suspended in the tightest point the universe can create. And in this rest, you feel the quiet ripple of something beyond this stillness, a vibration, a curve, a thought not your own, rising softly from the singular point. What if this is not the end of the journey, but the beginning of another path, one not backward, but through? And with that whisper, you begin to sense a bending, not of gravity, but of possibility. A gentle crease in space-time that may not lead home, but forward into something entirely unexpected. You're no longer falling, you're drifting, not downward, not forward, but inward, as if space itself is folding softly around you. The singularity has not crushed you, it has cradled you, wrapped you in a silence so deep it begins to hum. And in that hum, you remember a question, one that once danced in Einstein's thoughts like moonlight on still water. What if space could bend? Not just down, but through. Imagine space-time as a sheet, a flat, stretched canvas. You draw 2 points far apart and fold the sheet so they touch. That crease, that shortcut, is a wormhole. A tunnel through the fabric of the cosmos. And black holes? Perhaps they're not just endings, but entrances. You breathe, and the space around you seems to ripple in response. Not violently, gently, like a curtain stirred by wind. It's as though something has changed, not you, but the space you occupy. It feels stretched, curved, inviting. This is not the crushing darkness you feared. It's more like a corridor, unseen but sensed, a narrow neck in the hourglass of space-time. Could the singularity, that place of infinite density, open into this? Theoretical physicists have long dreamed of such possibilities. Solutions to Einstein's equations suggest that wormholes could exist. Not fantasy, not science fiction, but mathematics, whispering about doors where none were thought to be. Some say these wormholes connect not just places but times. Others believe they could link entire universes, separate realities, perhaps forever unreachable without such a bridge. You glide along this imagined path, carried not by propulsion, but by possibility. Around you, the space is quiet, not empty, but filled with a kind of suspended breath, like a hush before music starts. Your body feels the shift before your thoughts do. No pressure, no jolt, just a change in the rhythm of everything, as if the pulse of space has slowed, then begun again, but in a new key. You're not moving through space. Space is moving around you. You imagine the tunnel, curved, narrow, lined with fields of gravity you cannot name. On the walls of this corridor, if there are walls, are echoes of everything that's passed through, stars, thoughts, maybe even civilizations. And at the center, a point of connection, the throat of the wormhole. If such things exist, and no one can say for certain, they would require immense energy to remain stable, exotic matter with negative energy, the kind of matter we've only begun to imagine, something that pushes space apart even as gravity pulls it in. And yet you are here, floating in the idea of it. You wonder, has anything, or anyone, ever passed through one? Would they still be themselves on the other side, or would the journey reshape them, not just in form, but in thought? You try not to chase the answers. Here, in this slow, sleeping space, questions are more comforting than conclusions. The wormhole, if this is one, does not need your certainty, only your presence. So you let go of needing to know. Instead, you feel. You feel the curve of something larger than you, the quiet path winding through dark matter and folded time. You sense the stretch of distance shrinking into nearness. Perhaps this tunnel does not lead to another planet, or another universe. Perhaps it leads to another understanding. You think of the universe not as a map, but as a memory. Not as a place, but as a story. One told through stars and silence, black holes and bridges. You are part of that story now, carried by gravity and wonder through a path that no eye has seen. You don't know where you'll emerge, but that's not the point. The point is the path itself, the quiet connection, the bridge between what was and what might be. And somewhere up ahead, or maybe around, the tunnel seems to widen. Light returns, faint at first, like the edge of dawn, a soft glow curling around the curve. You are being delivered. Not through destruction, but through design. Not ending, becoming. And as the light grows warmer, you wonder, what waits on the other side of a black hole, and what messages has the universe left in the particles escaping its edge? You have not emerged, not quite. You're still within the presence of the black hole, but something has changed. The tunnel, the curve, the path, they've softened. You feel a shift in the temperature of space, not warmer, not colder, just more awake. You float near the edge now, not of the horizon, but of awareness. Something stirs, a faint shimmer in the vacuum. You feel it before you understand it. A soft flicker, a ghost of heat, and suddenly the black hole, once thought to be perfectly silent, begins to whisper. It does not roar, it does not hum, it radiates. Stephen Hawking once dreamed beside equations no one else could see. He imagined this very moment, the edge of the black hole pulsing with invisible light. According to him, black holes are not fully black. They glow, just a little, from something called Hawking radiation. It is not light as you know it, not fire, not brightness. It is the faintest heat, born not inside the black hole, but just at its edge, where space and quantum possibility flirt with each other. Particles appear in pairs, always in pairs, out of nothing. A quantum dance, one particle, one antiparticle. Most of the time they vanish again just as fast, but near the black hole's edge, something curious happens. Sometimes one particle falls in, and the other escapes. And when it escapes, it carries energy away, energy that once belonged to the black hole, slowly, softly, like drops evaporating from a lake. You listen now, not with ears, but with attention. The black hole is evaporating, not quickly, not visibly, but inevitably. It gives off these tiny ghosts, whispers of heat, until one day it may vanish entirely. This is not destruction, it is transformation. A black hole, once feared as a trap, becomes a candle, a quiet beacon giving back to the universe what it once held. The escaping particle carries a question. What did it see before it left? You drift among these particles now, not touching them, not slowing them, just feeling their presence. Each one is a messenger. Each one might carry information from the edge, or perhaps from deeper within. This is the paradox. If black holes evaporate, where does everything they swallowed go? Do the particles leaving the black hole somehow encode that information? Or is it lost forever, like breath into wind? Physicists debate it still. Some say no information is truly lost. It's just scrambled, hidden, waiting to be unraveled. Others say black holes are the final editors of the universe, redacting all that came before. You float between those arguments now, not needing an answer. You watch the particles emerge from the nothingness, one by one, like thoughts returning from a dream. Hawking radiation is faint, too faint for any human to see, but here, where time slows and perception deepens, you can sense it, like the warmth of memory, like the fading echo of a lullaby. The black hole continues to shrink particle by particle, a long goodbye, a quiet erasure. And you wonder, could this be the final message of the singularity? Not words, but heat. Not memory, but movement. Not a cry, but a whisper that never stops. And yet, these escaping particles suggest something else too. That maybe the black hole is not sealed forever, that maybe there is a way out, not by force, but by unraveling. By giving back, one bit at a time, all that was taken in. You're surrounded now by these gentle messengers. You drift among them like stardust caught in their wake. And as you do, another question unfolds. If these particles are information, if they are stories, then where do they go? Do they drift forever into silence? Or do they carry the shape of something new? Perhaps a message that bends not back to the black hole, but forward to something else. A place where reflections wait. A mirror universe, maybe, or the next chapter of the same long dream. You have followed whispers, drifted through time, floated near horizons that once felt unreachable. And now, as Hawking's particles fade into the velvet distance, a thought begins to rise, slowly, like dawn blooming beneath closed eyes. What if there is something on the other side? Not just silence, not just endings, but continuations, or beginnings. Some physicists, dreamers in lab coats, have stared at the chalkboard long enough to wonder, what if a black hole is not a trap but a tunnel, a bridge not only through space but between entire realities? These are not just bedtime fantasies, they're woven from mathematics, from Einstein's field equations, from quantum fields, from the curves and tiers of space-time itself. One theory suggests that every black hole, each singularity collapsing under its own gravity, may give birth to a new universe, a baby universe, blooming quietly beyond the reach of our own. And you are drifting now toward that idea. You close your eyes, and the space around you tilts. You begin to imagine what a mirror universe might feel like. It may not be made of opposites, not necessarily backward or reversed, but different, rearranged, where time could move sideways, where gravity might smile instead of pull, where atoms hum to different rhythms, where stars are born from entirely new laws. The very fabric of such a place might shimmer in colours we cannot see. Light might curve inward. Thought might shape matter. Or perhaps, in that world, someone is dreaming you. You feel the possibility swirl around you like stardust caught in moonlight. It doesn't pull. It offers. Not a promise, just a question. Would you step through? If you did, who would you become? Perhaps you'd be the same, made of the same carbon and calcium and memory. Or perhaps you'd be reassembled, atom by atom, your story rewritten in new syntax. Or maybe there is a version of you already there, a twin born from the same fall, living in a universe that bloomed from this black hole's final breath. You reach out, not with hands but with awareness, and you feel the shimmer of possibility. There are theories that speak of white holes, the opposite of black holes. While black holes swallow everything, white holes only release. They can't be entered. They push matter out, like fountains in reverse. Some believe white holes are connected to black holes joined by wormholes, that what falls into one may burst out of another, somewhere else, or sometime else. Is that what you're feeling now? Not just the pull of collapse, but the breath of release. A cosmic inhale, followed by an exhale. You drift in that breath, between gravity's pause and push, and for a moment, you feel neither here nor there, just between. The mirror universe might not be visible, you might never arrive, but still it exists in the numbers, in the poetry of physics, in the idea that nature wastes nothing, and even collapse becomes creation. You remember how stars die to feed galaxies, how pressure makes diamonds, how silence allows music. Why not black holes birthing realities? The thought calms you, not because you understand it, but because you don't need to. The universe, in its great quietness, contains room for more than one story. And you are part of that story now. You feel yourself approaching something. Not a wall, not a gate, but a membrane. A surface that is not surface. A veil not meant to be lifted, only leaned against. Your awareness brushes it gently. No resistance, just reflection. You do not see a door, but you feel one. Not in front of you, but around you. A sphere of potential, turning softly, not quite revealing what's inside. The idea of a mirror universe is not meant to be solved. It's meant to be wondered. A riddle that keeps unfolding, a thought that keeps circling. And as you drift in the quiet between realities, you begin to feel something stir in the background, a shift in rhythm, a pulse you hadn't noticed until now. The deep, patient cycle of the universe, birth, expansion, decay, and rebirth. You sense you're nearing that cycle's center, the place where destruction becomes design, where chaos becomes seed. You have followed light into darkness, and now, maybe, you're following darkness into light. Because just beyond this edge of possibility comes the return of form, of structure, of stars. A place where death folds into creation, where black holes give way to galaxies. You float now in the soft glow of aftermath, not the end, but the quiet that follows transformation. The whispers of mirror universes still echo gently behind you, but the air, if you can call it that, has changed. It feels fuller, like the beginning of something waiting to grow. Here, in this tender fold of space, you begin to understand the universe does not waste. Everything, light, dust, thought, gravity, has a purpose, and even in collapse, there is contribution. Black holes are often seen as endings, the final step for a massive star, a celestial eraser. But now, you begin to sense a deeper truth. Black holes may be not just death, but renewal, part of a rhythm as ancient as the stars. You imagine a massive star, heavier than our sun, burning through its fuel. For millions of years it shines, feeding planets with warmth, anchoring its system like a parent. But eventually its core becomes too heavy. Gravity wins, the star folds inward, collapsing with a final roar into a black hole. A death. And yet, that's not the end. Around the black hole, the galaxy doesn't fall apart. It arranges itself. Matter continues to orbit like dancers circling a darkened stage. Jets of energy, thin and fierce, erupt from the poles of some black holes streaming across light years. Whole regions of space are sculpted by this unseen center. You're beginning to see black holes are not intruders. They are architects. In many galaxies, including our own, supermassive black holes rest at the core, not destroying but anchoring. Their mass holds stars in orbit, guiding them in delicate spirals across the ages. Even as they devour, they shape. Even as they erase, they arrange. This is cosmic recycling, not in metaphor, in mathematics, in physics. Matter that falls in doesn't vanish. It becomes part of the gravitational structure. It contributes to the environment, and if it escapes, through jets, or possibly through Hawking radiation, it re-enters the universe, not lost, just changed. You feel it in your chest, this idea that death is not a void, but a transformation. Even our planet, our bodies, our atoms, all built from stardust. Carbon forged in long-dead stars, iron formed in ancient cores, calcium from cosmic furnaces. You're made from things that died and gave, and so is everything you see. You wonder, if black holes seed galaxies, could their energy echo across time, shaping new worlds? Maybe the particles that escaped earlier, those soft Hawking whispers, drift far and wide. Maybe they collide, fuse, become the raw material of nebulae, then stars, then planets, then life. Perhaps in some far future, life will rise from the scattered breath of a black hole, a child of gravity, light, and time. A second life from a final fall. There is a softness in that thought, a kind of cosmic mercy, that nothing truly ends. It simply takes a new form. You begin to feel the rhythm of the universe now, not as separate events, but as one long spiraling breath. A breath that begins in light, peaks in gravity, collapses into dark, and exhales again into form. Birth in death, structure in silence. The universe does not fear the black hole. It welcomes it. Because through these quiet collapses, galaxies learn to grow, matter learns to move, even time learns to pause and start again. And you, drifting near this great engine of mystery, feel not afraid, but grateful. You have seen the fall, you have heard the whispers, you have touched the silence, and now you begin to feel the return. Far ahead, you sense structure once more, shape, brightness, motion. You are nearing a place where silence begins to speak again, where echoes take form, where the afterglow becomes a guide. A place where we begin to listen not just to what black holes erase, but to what they teach. You're drifting now through a calmer stretch of space, not empty, but hushed. The silence here is textured, like a dark fabric stretched across eternity. And just as you begin to settle, something moves. Not loud, not sudden, just a tremble, a ripple. You do not hear it, not with ears, but your entire being senses the wave, gentle, subtle, impossibly vast, a shaking not of things, but of everything. This is not sound, this is the movement of space itself. A gravitational wave. Long ago, or perhaps not long at all, two black holes danced in a death spiral. For millions of years they circled one another, drawing closer with each orbit, their mass bending space around them, curving it tighter and tighter. And then, finally, they met. Two invisible giants colliding in utter darkness, not with light, not with heat, but with a quiet cosmic thud that sent ripples out in every direction. You're feeling one of those ripples now. Like a pulse. Like a whisper from an event so powerful it shook the very scaffolding of the universe. For decades, scientists dreamed of catching these ripples. They imagined detectors so sensitive they could measure distortion smaller than the width of a proton. An impossible task, until it wasn't. They called it LIGO, the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. 2 long arms, 2 beams of laser light, 1 nearly perfect silence. And in 2015 that silence broke, ever so slightly. A ripple arrived from 1.3 billion light-years away. The signal was small, a tiny wiggle in space-time, but it was real. The echo of 2 black holes colliding, their final spiral recorded across the Earth. A wave you could not see, but could feel if you listened carefully enough. You imagine LIGO now standing like a quiet instrument beneath the stars, its mirrors still, its lasers sharp, like a stethoscope pressed to the chest of the universe, waiting to hear the next heartbeat. And the universe answers, slowly, rarely, with immense patience. You float among those signals now, each one a story, each wave a chapter in the long tale of creation. Some come from black holes, some from neutron stars, some from events so distant, so ancient, we have not yet named them. It humbles you, the idea that space itself can move, that the empty stillness you once imagined as motionless is actually alive, bending, stretching, ringing like a drum struck by unseen hands. And more humbling still, that we can listen, that somewhere, on a pale blue dot, humans have built instruments delicate enough to catch these whispers, to hear the aftermath of collapse, to learn, not from what they see, but from what space itself feels. You lie still now, mirroring the instruments. You listen with your breath, with your awareness. Another wave passes. Soft, slow, precise. Not a crash, not a roar, just a presence. And in that wave, you hear the truth. The universe has always been talking, in ripples, in patterns, in subtle movements of time and gravity. And perhaps, we're only now learning to understand its language. You're surrounded by these gentle echoes now, not many, not often, but enough to feel the rhythm, the quiet punctuation of events you cannot see, a grammar made of gravity. You begin to wonder, what else have we missed? How many waves pass through us every day, unnoticed, unfelt? What other secrets travel through this ocean of space-time waiting for someone, something, to pause long enough to hear them? And just as that question forms, you feel another tremble. But this one is different. Not from the past, not from somewhere else. It feels close. Not a ripple moving outward, but one drawing in. The waves are leading you, not just through stories, but towards something new. A place where echoes begin to take shape and light starts to return. The tremble fades, the last ripple passes, and slowly, softly, you begin to return. Not as you were, not untouched, but changed quietly. Something in you is bent with the fabric of space. You have journeyed through gravity's deepest sigh. You floated past the edge of time. You felt collapse, stillness, shimmer, and light. And now you rise, slowly, back through thought, through memory, through breath. You're no longer drifting beside black holes or singularities. You're here, inside yourself, inside your body. But part of you still glows with what you've seen. You're made of matter that was forged in stars, ancient ones, long gone, carbon, iron, oxygen, all born in nuclear furnaces, all scattered into the cosmos when those stars died. Dust, once drifting, became you. The same particles that collapsed into black holes also built your bones. The same forces that curved galaxies also formed your thoughts. You're not separate from the universe. You are its memory, walking, wondering, listening. And so, when you imagine black holes, when you feel their gravity in your chest, that's not fantasy. That's recognition. The quiet places in the universe speak to the quiet places in you. You've seen how endings can become beginnings, how death in space does not mean disappearance, but transformation. And perhaps the same is true for you. Your moments, everyone, collapse inward, become memory, become gravity, and yet give rise to something new. Maybe you carry your own singularities, not just questions too heavy to hold, but truths so dense they shine in silence. You've watched time slow near the event horizon. You've listened to the gentle voice of hawking radiation. You've imagined what lies beyond, where space folds in on itself and becomes something else. And now, you wonder about your own edges, your own horizons. What lies beyond your last breath? What does it mean to vanish, or to remain? Black holes do not fear these questions. They are these questions. They teach, not by speaking, but by existing. You return from them carrying more than knowledge. You return with humility, with curiosity, with a quieter kind of awe. Because the same universe that holds black holes holds you. You do not need to travel through space to feel it. You're already inside it. Every thought you've ever had is made of particles that once felt the heat of ancient stars. Every breath you take contains the dust of galaxies that collapsed and reformed. You're not visiting the cosmos. You are the cosmos, reflecting on itself. You're stardust, yes, but you're also gravity. You're also time. You're also mystery. And somewhere inside you, a singularity rests, not as fear, but as potential. Not as an end, but as a doorway. And as you begin to drift toward waking, as the room slowly returns around you, you carry that feeling with you. The stillness, the curve, the possibility. You open your eyes not to leave the universe, but to see it more clearly. Because wherever you go now, into the day, into sleep, into thought, you go carrying a truth, that even the darkest places hold the seeds of light. And even the smallest person contains the weight of stars. Now, gently. What if you could follow that thought into one final breath of space, where the boundary between you and everything softens once more? You lie still now, no longer drifting through distant gravity wells or falling toward invisible centers, no longer measuring time in light years or collapse. You are here, on Earth, in this moment, and yet something vast remains with you. The black hole was never just a place in the sky. It was a metaphor, a mirror, a way to see inward by looking outward. You remember the darkness not as something to fear, but as something full, not empty, just quiet, not threatening, just deep. And now, in the silence of your own body, you feel that same depth, that same stillness. The black hole taught you that even the most powerful gravity can move gently, that time can stretch, slow, breathe, that even endings are patient. And now you realize the universe was never trying to take you somewhere. It was trying to show you yourself. You are more than a body on a planet. You are a mind that can imagine singularities. You are a heart that can feel connected to distant stars. You are a voice, a presence, aware of its own awareness. That is a miracle. The singularity may hide behind the event horizon, but your own self-awareness shines without boundary. No telescope can measure it. No equations can contain it. You've walked the spiral inward. You've felt time bend. You've imagined wormholes, mirrored realms, evaporating giants of silence. But the truest mystery, the one science cannot chart, is the fact that you're here to wonder at all. You, soft, breathing, small, can comprehend the scale of galaxies, the folding of space, the heartbeat of gravity. That makes you part of the cosmos in a way no black hole can ever erase. The universe is not cold. It's quiet, reflective, waiting. And when you listen, as you've done tonight, it listens back. That, perhaps, is the deepest symmetry of all. The black hole was not a monster, it was a mirror, and in its gravity, you saw your own depth. Not just stardust, but mystery. Not just life, but curiosity. You rest now, not at the edge of the galaxy, but at the edge of thought, and that too is a frontier. The quiet behind your eyes holds space just as vast as the void between stars. And when you sleep, the universe sleeps with you, wrapped not in fear, but in the comfort that everything you've wondered was always part of who you are. You do not need to travel light years to arrive. You are already home. So close your eyes, softly now. Let the stars go, let the gravity ease, let time drift. Because the journey has never been about distance, it's been about wonder. And wonder is already within you. Good night, traveller of thought, dream gently, sleep deeply. The universe is still here, and so are you.